The return to Shiganshina arc features some of the craziest moments, most shocking reveals, and cleanest hands in Aot. Ever since the first episode when Wall Maria got ran through, we've been waiting to see Erwin and them come back and reclaim their home. But see, the thing is, Reiner and Bertholdt are already camping waiting for them. And this time it's even worse because they got Zeke with them, who's trying to make things different this time and not let Erwin get away. Alright, so let's get right into it. Alright, so basically the scouts decide to pull up to Shiganshina in the middle of the nighttime, moving all quiet. But that's when they realize that everything is way too quiet. But for now, Erwin gets hard and plugs up the wall.
Hey, yo!
But Reiner decides to pop out on demon time and start throwing hands with everyone that he sees. And to make things even worse, Zeke pulls up with a bunch of titans and starts throwing rocks into the inner gate so that the scout can't get to the horses that they pulled up on. Now this is when my boy Erwin starts scheming up a master plan to save the horses, knowing that they would be cooked if they didn't have a way to escape. So basically Erwin groups up most of the scouts by the gate, but then sends Eren to lure away Reiner. But unfortunately the scouts at the gate were getting smacked around by the titans. At least on the inside, Eren was able to distract Reiner. The scouts could use the thunder spears on him. But thankfully Hanji's squad and Levi's squad are able to pack up Reiner after blinding him, cutting his titan's neck open, and blowing his head off. But for some reason, bro, Isayama decides that it would make perfect sense for Reiner to be able to survive getting his head blown off because he transfers his consciousness into his balls. Somebody explain this. This is actually the most craziest thing in this entire show, just out of pure plot convenience. But since somehow Reiner was able to survive getting his head cut off, he's able to hit up his boy Bertholdt for help, who gets thrown into Shiganshina in a barrel by Zeke. That's when Bertholdt tells Reiner to lock in, and then Armin tries telling him to calm down, saying this ain't you. But Bertholdt says nah, I don't know you, bro. And Mikasa goes after him but fails to kill him. So he decides to turn the shit into 1945 Japan and drop a nuke on everyone by turning into the Colossal Titan. The scouts try and run up on the Colossal, but Eren gets kicked away and Mikasa can't even land a single hit. And on the outside, the scouts are getting fried by the Beast Titan, who's throwing rocks at them like hot honey buns at a homeless guy. A bunch of the scouts get killed, but now Erwin, Levi, and the new recruits are the only ones left. That's when Erwin comes up with one final devious plot to try and give Levi a chance to box with the Beast Titan one-on-one. Erwin decides that him and the remaining scouts are going to charge straight at the Beast Titan and distract him long enough so that Levi could sneak him. And this is when Erwin delivers one of the coldest speeches in anime history and gets his boys turned up. In one final charge, Erwin and the scouts charge towards Zeke and shoot their flare guns to distract him. But meanwhile, Zeke is over there thinking to himself that Erwin and the scouts were some bricks for basically letting themselves die. But Levi pops up out of nowhere and starts piecing up Zeke, and he makes sure that his boys didn't sacrifice their lives for nothing and claps Zeke's cheeks. Before Levi can feed Zeke to someone, the cart titan pulls up and grabs Zeke and dips out. Now things are finally looking up as Zeke is out of the fight. We gotta remember that like 90% of the scouts just got rolled up, and by now even if Eren and them can finish off Bertholdt, the losses are still gonna be crazy. Since Erwin is gone, it's Armin's turn to come up with a devious plot. So basically Armin sends most of the team to hold off the armored titan, who are able to push Reiner back when Hanji shows up again. And Armin tells Eren his plan for beating Bertholdt. And then it looks like Eren's stupid ass slips off the wall, but this was actually part of the plan all along. Armin risks his life by standing right in front of Bertholdt and let him get burnt to a crisp as a distraction. Armin's one of the realest ones in this entire series, bro. He put his life on the line and put all of his trust in Eren that he was gonna clutch up while he was getting cooked. Armin was ready to die for this shit, and he actually thought he was going to, and he trusted his homies to not give up. While Eren was getting burnt to a crisp, Eren got hard again and plugged up the wall, and then he hit Bertholdt from behind and cut him out of the Colossal Titan. Somehow, even after Armin got burnt so badly he became black, he was still breathing, so Eren asked Levi for the Titan juice to give to Armin so he can eat up Bertholdt and become the Colossal Titan. But before that can happen, bro, Flock's ugly ass pulls up with his goofy ass haircut holding a dying Erwin, begging Levi to inject the Titan sauce into him to keep him alive. Flock pisses me off so much. This is when Mikasa starts crashing out, but ultimately the decision up to Levi. And Levi decides that Erwin has been through enough and that he was ready to die already. So he gives the Titan juice to Armin, who swallows a Bertholdt and turns back into a human. Now that Bertholdt got eaten by Armin and the cart Titan had picked up Zeke and Reiner and dipped out, the scouts had won and reclaimed Shiganshina despite losing a large amount of their homies. But now, it's finally time to go to the basement, and this is where we learn some crazy things about Eren's father and the rest of the world. We learn about Marley and the world outside of the walls, and we found out that all the pure Titans were just regular people turned into Titans by Marley. But there was actually a group of people who tried rebelling against them, and part of that group was Aaron's dad. A bunch of other stuff gets explained about Zeke, Aaron's dad, and the Island of Parody. And one of the more important things that we learned is about the Curse of Ymir, which basically means that all the Titan shifters would die 13 years after getting the powers. That means Aaron was going to die in 8 years and Armin was going to die in 13 years. And we learned that the rest of the world is basically ready to fade with the entire island. We might all be cooked. But on the bright side, the rest of the pure Titans get packed out and the boys are finally able to get to the sea, which we've been waiting for since day one. And everyone's all jolly and happy now that they got to the sea. We can see that Aaron has definitely changed as a person. Before he would have been cheesing alongside Armin and Mikasa and everyone else. Now he's looking all emo and trying to order farm, looking into the distance, talking about we got some enemies out there. Like, bro, just enjoy the view for a minute. But overall, that wraps up this arc, which did indeed contain some of the best moments, craziest fades, and most shocking reveals. The end of this arc was probably the biggest lore dump I ever experienced, and it opened up a bunch of possibilities for the show. But yeah, thanks for watching and let me know what you want to see next.